I was halfway through clearing my driveway when Lisa pulled off the unthinkable. She snatched my shovel. Not borrowed, not asked for, just took it. 1 second, I was battling 3 feet of dense snow off my walkway, and the next, my brand new, steel-reinforced, ergonomic-handled snow shovel was disappearing into the grip of the neighborhood's self-proclaimed royalty. She strutted off like she'd just won it in a local lottery. I stood there, practically steaming in the sub-zero air, watching her parade across the cul-de-sac with shameless boldness. That's when I decided this wasn't ending here, not this time. It had been one of the worst snowstorms our town had seen in years. Forecasts had predicted record-breaking snow, and for once, they weren't exaggerating. People had raided stores in a panic, expecting a dusting that never came until now. By sunrise, the world outside looked like the Arctic's meaner sibling had crashed the party. Snow reached my knees, silence blanketing everything except for the faint buzz of snowblowers and the occasional grunt of someone's back, vying out under a flimsy shovel. I'd gotten a head start up early, coffee in hand, making solid progress until Lisa showed up. She didn't even fake politeness. She marched over in a neon green robe and matching fuzzy slippers, glaring at me like I'd insulted her by daring to be efficient. I gave her a CIVYL nod because I'm not a barbarian. Her response? She grabbed my shovel from where I'd propped it during a quick break. I blinked, half expecting a punchline, but nope. She turned, mumbled something about neighborhood policies, and sauntered back across the street like she'd just done me a favor. "Hey, that's mine," I yelled. She waved a dismissive hand over her shoulder and called back, "You're welcome." For what? Letting her rob me without a fight? I stormed after her, boots crunching through the snow, gloves still on, like a man possessed. She was already attacking her driveway by the time I caught up, acting like my shovel was her personal gift. "Lisa, that's my shovel," I said, voice tight. She turned, feigning shock. "Oh, you're serious? It was just sitting there." "Technically, that's shared property, Marie, in an HOA, you know. Read the rules." That's when it hit me. This wasn't just a neighbor spat. This was a full-on Lisa situation. Then, to top it off, she whipped out a clipboard, yes, a clipboard from under her robe, and added, "By the way, your trash cans were out 20 minutes early last Tuesday. That's a due law 25 fine." I should have walked away. I really should have. But some moments demand a stand. I stared at her, trying to process how someone could be so steeped in pettiness. My shovel, ordered after hours of research, my prized tool in the war against snow, was now in her hands. I took a deep breath. "Lisa, I'm asking nicely. Give it back. I've still got half my driveway to clear, and you didn't even ask." She grinned, venomously sweet. "If you want it, borrow it when I'm done. Just knock." That was the moment I snapped. Not with yelling or fists, but with something colder, sharper. I nodded, turned, and trudged home. In my head, a plan was brewing. If she wanted the shovel, fine, she could have it, along with every snowflake I could dump her way. From my window, coffee in hand, I watched her hack at the snow like a rookie lumberjack. Wrong stance, bad angles, a disaster. It was painful yet oddly gratifying. I texted my buddy Jake, who lived a couple houses down and had his own Lisa horror stories. He called instantly, laughing when I spilled the details. "You should bury her," he said. The words stuck, not literally, of course, but figuratively delicious. I half joked about renting a snowplow until I found one available locally. When I called and mentioned Lisa from Pinecrest, the guy chuckled. "That neighborhood? I've been waiting to stick it to her." By sundown, the plan was locked. Jake and I rounded up 3 other neighbors, each with their own Lisa grudges, one fined for a gnome too near the curb, another for overly festive lights. Over pizza and hot cocoa, we hatched Operation Blizzard. At 2 a.m., under a moonlit sky, we struck no engines, just quiet labor and a clear mission. We cleared snow from other driveways and funneled it all to Lisa's. Every shovelful felt like justice. By the end, her car was entombed. Her walkway vanished under a wall of packed snow and ice. I stepped back, admiring our work, silent, icy perfection. For kicks, I taped a note to the frozen pile. "Since you love my shovel, here's the snow that came with it. Enjoy." Then we slipped away like winter phantoms. Morning light hit the rooftops, spotlighting Lisa's house. I sipped coffee, wrapped in smug warmth, as the scene unfolded. Her once cleared driveway now looked like an avalanche's aftermath, her car a ghostly shape under the mound. She flung open her door still in those garish green slippers and let out a shriek that could have shattered ice. Karma, loud and clear. She stormed onto her porch, wide-eyed, jaw dropped, kicking at the snow and wincing as her foot hit solid ice. Then she spotted the note. She peeled it off, read it, and froze not from the cold, but from the sheer gall of it. Rage built, then erupted yelling, flailing, threats of lawsuits and HOA vengeance. I nearly choked on my coffee laughing. 20 minutes later, she charged down the street, clipboard in one hand, ancient flip phone in the other. She was on a mission. She stopped at every house, while VYing her clipboard like a battle flag. Most didn't answer. One guy shut his blinds mid-stare. It was glorious. She stomped home, still barking into her phone. Soon, a police cruiser rolled up, casual as can be. I stepped outside, calm and polite, waiting for the knock. The officer, young and amused, grinned. "Hey, got a call from a lady across the street. Says you assaulted her property with snow." I bit back a laugh. "Assaulted with snow?" He chuckled. "Yeah, my thoughts exactly. What happened?" I and VY-ted him in, poured him coffee, and laid it out her theft, my polite request, her refusal, and how snow from cleared driveways somehow ended up on hers. I didn't lie. I just explained nature's quirks. He smirked. "So you shoveled, and it landed there?" "Exactly." He glanced out the window. "She's acting like it's toxic waste." "She took my shovel," I said. "She claims it's HOA property." He shook his head. "This is the calmest call I've had all week." I waved as he left. Lisa watched from across the street, arms crossed, lips puckered like she'd sucked a lemon. The cruiser drove off, and she looked ready to explode. But Lisa wasn't done. 10 minutes later, she emerged with a rented snowblower, a rickety relic that screamed bad choices. I watched, riveted, as she yanked the cord. Nothing. She tried again 5 pulls later. It sputtered to life, belching smoke. She nodded triumphantly and attacked the snow, only to lose control. The machine bucked, spraying snow everywhere, mostly in her face. It veered, smashed her mailbox, toppled a tacky reindeer statue. She wrestled it, accidentally blasting her garage with powder. Then, in a final comedic blow, the cord sparked, shorted, and killed her porch lights. Darkness fell. She stood there, snow-covered, dignity in tatters, clutching a dead machine. Word spread fast. Lisa called an emergency HOA meeting 6 p.m., mandatory. I arrived early, flash drive ready. The room buzzed with retirees, young parents, and annoyed dads like me. Lisa stood up front, clipboard poised, smirking. "We've got a harassment and vandalism issue," she began. "Certain residents are flouting community standards." She spun a tale of VY Tim Hood, pointing at me. "Ray, explain why you turned my property into a snow jail." I stood, plugged in my drive, and played Jake's Ring footage, Lisa snagging my shovel in HD. The room went silent. Someone snorted. I said, "I just moved snow. If it landed somewhere inconvenient, that's too bad." Lisa stammered, "This is out of context." Then Ellen, a stern board member, cut in. "Let's talk about something else, the financials." Lisa paled. Ellen produced a folder. Unexplained charges, furniture, spa trips, billed to HOA funds. "It stops now." The board voted on the spot. Lisa was suspended, pending re-VYEW. Cheers erupted. As I left, someone clapped my back. "You buried her, man." I smiled. We were just warming up. The next storm hit harder, darker. By dusk, thick snow buried everything again. Roads closed, power flickered, and the neighborhood rallied except Lisa. After her suspension, she'd gone quiet, no clipboard or bullhorn. But with her house dark and buried, concern crept in. Jake and I dug to her door, had no answer. Then, a muffled, grumpy, "About time." She opened the door, shivering under blankets. "It's freezing. My generator's busted. I need help." "You didn't ask," I said. She glared. "I shouldn't have to beg." I smiled. "Sorry, I only help folks who return stolen goods." Her jaw dropped. I walked off, Jake laughing behind me. She posted in the group chat, demanding aid. Replies were brutal. "You find me for wind chimes, good luck." She watched from her window as we helped an elderly neighbor instead. That night, I left a toy shovel on her porch with a note, "Start small." She cleared her driveway alone, day by day, as spring crept in. Then, her house went up for Sally. No goodbye, just gone. I won the HOA presidency by default, promising no snow wars or petty rules. Peace settled in until Tara moved in, clipboard in hand, suggesting cohesive porch lights. Jake grinned. Sequel time. I smirked. I've still got the shovel.